So good morning, everyone. I'm Christophe Lalande. I work in Nairobi at the global headquarters of UN Habitat. So I'm actually leading the housing unit, so the work of UN Habitat and the United Nations in terms of housing policy development. So I'm very grateful for the invitation. I mean, I'm very happy to be invited to be here with you today because this is also part of a longer-term partnership we have with your research center. So I'm very glad that we can share a few thoughts on the housing sector globally. I had a bit of an issue with the title of the session. This is something I share with Nick because it's about shelter and ownership. And I think that we're, from our point of view, not really talking about shelter, but more about housing. And also the work that we're promoting at the global level is really to provide housing for everyone, especially for the most poor. And ownership is not usually the main model that we're promoting at country level. So, but I'm going to present you the main issues that we are seeing in the different countries where we are working, in different countries that we are supporting to develop their national housing policy frameworks. I've divided the presentation in 4 parts. The main one, the first one would be really about presenting the main key challenges of the global housing sector. Secondly, I will make reference to the global agenda in terms of housing. I will also present the work that we are doing at the global level to promote the right to adequate housing for all. And finally, I will focus on the work that we are doing to promote affordable housing and to address the challenge of housing affordability at the global level. So trying to understand the global housing challenges, I think that most of you are quite aware with these issues, but there are some data that we're working with, and that are really the facts and figures that are really supporting and also pushing our work, motivating our work. At global level, we have more than 1 billion people living in slums. But beyond that, we have 2.4 billion people living without access to improved sanitation. You have also issues of affordability. We counted that there is almost 500 million affordable houses that are needed by 2025. So it's a major issue. We talked about the global affordability challenge some years ago with the McKinsey Research Institute. In our work, we also tackled the issues of housing in the context of post-disaster, post-crisis. We are looking into the issues of risk exposure. We are looking into the issues of green buildings, looking at unsustainable designs, or we can improve access to affordable housing through sustainable designs. And finally, we are also looking at the issues of unlawful forced evictions. And this is a major component of our work, and I think that is also in the DNA of the work of a UN agency, to promote the right to adequate housing and as part of human rights. This is maybe the main key message that I would like to share, that when we work on housing and when we want to work with governments and for them to understand something, that housing is not about a sectorial approach, it's not a silo approach. And when we build houses, beyond that, we are building homes, but even beyond that, I think that we are building cities. And I think that this is something very important to have in mind. The way that we are going to design housing, the way that we are going to propose housing to people and to include people in the city is very determinant for the future of the city and maybe reaching the good city. This is also the way that we are looking at housing. Some years ago, preparing for Habitat 3, we developed a new conceptual approach that we call the housing at the center approach. This was really with this idea to promote housing beyond the housing sector, to connect housing with the urban development overall. And by that we mean also a universal approach, universal understanding of housing. So, for example, we saw in many countries that the investment in the housing sector was having a positive impact on the health component of the national development. This was, for example, data that we got from the Canadian government, and it was very interesting to see that $1 invested in the housing sector was allowing the government to save more money in like the health policy. But also we believe that by providing housing to the most poor, like better housing conditions, we can really like provide better access to education and improve security and safety in cities, and also like improve access to other type of opportunities and participation at city level. Talking about housing at the global level is also like really like promoting the right to adequate housing. So this is like the different 7 components that are constituting the right to adequate housing. I think that everyone is very familiar with that. This is really like the basis of our work, and based on these different components, we have been like structuring the way that we approach the different challenges of our housing. So there is the issues of legal security of tenure, of habitability, availability of services, accessibility, location, cultural adequacy, very important component, but also maybe the most important in the new urban agenda, the affordability of the housing stock. So since a couple of years, in particular since Quito and the adoption of the Quito Declaration, we have a new framework that we call the New Urban Agenda. But in addition, we have an overall development framework that is promoted by the UN and supported by all our member states. It's like the Sustainable Development Goals. For us, is a very powerful and impactful framework, and to be able like to deliver the activities we are doing at country level. I'm very proud to say that actually the target on providing adequate affordable housing for countries was one of the first that was approved and that we started monitoring at country levels in all the world regions. So it's a very actually important instrument, because we saw that in the past decades our main challenge was actually like the data collection to be able to measure progress in countries. And where we're talking about comparison between countries, this is like very important to have this type of framework. But we also have the New Urban Agenda, and which is like putting a very strong emphasis on the right to adequate housing, on the idea of leaving no one behind, to provide adequate and affordable housing for all in cities. So this is like a sort of very synthesized scheme that is like presenting the work we're doing at the global level. It varies from countries to countries, and it's very interesting that we can go through that together, because I think we will really understand how we can like adjust our approach from countries from the south. I also don't like to mention this to qualify countries from the south, but it's also very difficult to talk about developing countries and developed countries, because more and more we see that it's actually very different and very, very challenging to be able to have like specific public policies for developing countries, or countries from the south, or countries for the north. I will talk a little bit more about that, but these are like 5 main components that are really instrumental to be able to provide affordable housing for all. So I mentioned this concept of housing at the center. This was a conceptual approach. It's really illustrating the evolution of the work of the United Nations to promote the right to adequate housing for all, globally, but also at country level. We really moved from the Habitat Agenda approach, of the enabling approach in '96, towards something much more integrated, looking at different areas of urban development. So as I mentioned, we really look at like the interconnection between urban planning, city design, and the provision of housing, with a very strong emphasis on human rights and inclusiveness. This was very instrumental in Quito to really like a very strong buy-in from member states. Our first area of work is really like the development of national housing policy development. Over the past year, we've been like supporting I think 32 national governments to develop or to redevelop the national housing policy frameworks. So it's actually like the main part of our work is to provide direct support to ministers of housing at country level. In the work of Habitat, okay, I will be very quick then. We had like the history to work much more with developing countries or least developed countries. Over the past year, we had a very interesting evolution where actually we have been requested to provide more specific support to like countries from the north. So I was like 2 weeks ago in Lesotho, where we closed a project we started a couple of years ago. We usually start with an assessment phase of the national housing sector, to like the formulation of the national housing policy and the formulation of the strategy of implementation, with very specific programs of intervention for the government to be able to implement the right to adequate housing at local level. So this was a very interesting and important success for UN Habitat with a very strong buy-in from the countries. But what it shows is really like also like the divide in between our work in developing countries and more developed countries. And if I could highlight maybe the main difference is that usually when we work in developing countries, we're really working on the development of the regulatory framework, the policy framework that does not exist or is not effective. When we work in developed countries, countries from the north, next week, for example, we'll be in Ukraine, in Kiev. The week after, we go to Bulgaria. The idea is really to have like more targeted interventions on very specific social issues or environmental regulations. So we also have a very important work to promote the right to adequate housing. I will go very quickly through these different thematics because I don't have enough time, but this is like really the DNA of our work, the main areas of intervention at country level. We work very closely with the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights to promote the right to adequate housing for all. And we see that now the provision of affordable housing, housing affordability, may be the main instrument to reach the realization of these rights in developing countries. We also work on the issues of culture and diversity, which is like a very important thematic, and also we believe that this is really crucial in the design and implementation of national housing policies. For too long, we know national government had a very static views of the housing sector. And what we want to see is that we need to consider the diversity of people and the diversity of needs to have like national housing policies that are actually reflecting the needs of people and to be able like to develop tailor-made housing policies and programs. So we work, for example, on the issues of urban migration, access to housing for migrants, persons with disabilities, elderly persons, youth, and access to housing, gender issues. We also work on the issue of green buildings, not only from the perspective of climate change and environmental sustainability, but more importantly from the perspective of economic development. So when we are promoting in developing countries tools to promote green buildings, is really in view of actually like building some sort of local economic development cycle and to provide adequate housing and affordable housing for all. We have a very strong component of work on housing finance, and again, it varies greatly between like countries that are really like in crisis situation. I have a recent example of a rental housing scheme we have been developing for IDPs in Somalia. Very innovative housing tools that we are thinking now to export to another countries with a very different socio-economic context, which is Bahrain, which has a very interesting social housing programs with a very high value housing models. But we also work with like countries and regions to develop housing finance facility for countries, especially in developing countries, to be able to self-sustain social housing programs. So now we are in discussion with the African Union to have a global regional housing finance facility for Africa. I'm going to have like, these are like the final set of slides, but I wanted to meet a little bit the themes of the session to link all this work with the issues of the provision of affordable housing for all in countries. And Nick asked me to try to build a comparison between countries from the south and countries from the north. Again, it was very challenging because it's actually very difficult to compare the work we are doing in Bahrain or Brazil or Afghanistan and to really establish who is following which model. But what is very interesting is that to be able to address the global affordability gap, we need to work, on the diversity fronts. So when we work on the issues of the right to adequate housing, when we work on the issues of green building sustainabilities, on the issues of planning proper policies, we are really helping to address the issues of the cost of housing and to reduce the cost of housing, to make housing affordable for everyone. Which is very interesting is that we have like very different contexts of interventions, and if, for example, we work on the issues of human rights, we will have like an understanding in developing countries to really like prevent forced evictions, while we will work, in Europe or the EC region to promote inclusive regulation for older persons or youth and their access to housing. The same applies for our intervention of housing sustainability and green buildings. In developing countries, we will be promoting local materials, while in countries from the north, we will have a very strong focus on promoting energy efficiencies. Finally, in terms of planning, very interesting entry point for us. Is really looking into supporting densification of housing, mixed use, and inclusionary zoning in developing countries. While we see increasing requests, especially from cities from the north. So I'm referring also to the case of Barcelona that Mr. Parks referred to yesterday. And we see an increasing issues, with different type of use of housing and commodification of housing, especially through different type of short-term lease for tourism housing with the model of Airbnb. So these are models that we are aware of and that we are trying to address to continue be able to provide affordable housing for all in the different regions. So thank you very much. But as a sort of conclusion, I also would like to see, and taking the opportunity to be representing the United Nations here, to see what I can also benefit from this conference. And I will be very happy to have your view of how we can better integrate our work, because I see that you are doing a lot of research that will be very interesting for us to be able to have more tailor-made approach for countries. We actually started to develop housing studios within Habitat. So if I take the case of Lesotho or Bahrain, we will be very interested, based on the policy framework that we agreed that we set up with the national government or cities, to be able to have action-oriented activities with groups of students or university to be able to deliver the products that the country is asking for. Thank you.